unpacking today's headlines. This is Souls and Liberty in Depth.
Hello everyone, and welcome to In Depth, the production of Souls and Liberty, brought to you in partnership with MyPillow.com. Today, Stephen Wynn and I, fellow contributors here at Souls and Liberty, are just going to sit and kind of like wax eloquent and review what a madhouse of a campaign season, political season, culture, everything that we've witnessed. I mean, they've shot, the leading candidate. It's nuts. Stephen, there's about 140,000 things we could talk about, and that's all just happened in the last week. So I'd like you to just dig into your brain there and rank them all for us. Go.
I tell you, I am breathless after the past, the past 6 months, especially. It has been absolutely dizzying, unlike any campaign season we have ever seen. You go back to May, to the lawfare waged against Trump. Longer than that, but it really came to the fore in May. You've got Biden being exposed, his dementia being exposed. Now, of course, those of us who are not enslaved to the New York Times, we've known this all along, but during as a result of the June debate with Trump, it was no longer undeniable. So not only was Biden exposed, but the cover-up artists and the Marxist media, they were exposed. They had egg on their face. Then of course the Kamala's coup coming in the wake of that. Her candidacy being rammed through in a very undemocratic process. As you said, the assassination attempts, plural, against Trump, him surviving both of those. All of this, of course, coming against the backdrop of democratic policies, really kind of the effects of those kind of really coming into play. We've got a Venezuelan crime syndicate, Tren de Aragua, taking over entire swaths of U.S. cities. Then there's the international stuff. There are now North Korean troops on the ground in Russia. We've got American troops in Israel, Iranian missiles raining down on Tel Aviv and Haifa, and Israeli jets bombing Tehran. It's nuts. One of the things that I found most fascinating, and I'll turn this over to you in just a second, is the fact that we have seen major democratic moves toward the Republican Party. Yeah. Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He was a prince of the Democratic Party. The Democrats.
So was Donald Trump, for the record.
That's a very good point. Absolutely, yes. I think there's been a great awakening of the American people. They have seen the threat the Democratic Party poses to the United States. And we're seeing the results of that. I think the Trumpian GOP now is really finding its foundation. I think there are immense opportunities for us in the years ahead if we seize the opportunity, and I think Trump will if he wins the White House on November 5th.
Yeah, no. First of all, I got to say I'm exhausted just listening to your rundown. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, that's right, that happened too. Oh, that's right. People not in the news world of this, which is obviously most people watching and listening to us. I got to assure you, you have no idea how much of a getting thrown into the blender this is. I'm not asking for pity or anything. I'm just kind of giving you a little background on this to have our eyes and our ears constantly staring into this stuff and all the offshoots of it and what's going on in Pennsylvania. What's happening there? They're trying to stop the voting, and that's just a political part of it. There's all the background of the cultural and the everything else. Why is this thing happening? Look at the emergence of social media. Twitter, but Elon bought Twitter, turned it into X, and that's now become sort of the leading platform. Rogan interviewing Trump, 30, 40, 50 million viewers. YouTube trying to shut him down. I mean, it's just, and that's just in the last 72 hours. It's just nuts. When we come back, I want to say, let's get into, Stephen, if we can, what are some of the social changes, both helping propel what's happening politically, and what are some of the things that are happening politically that are causing things in the culture? Where this gate sort of swings both ways right now. So we're going to step aside real quickly and come right back. The establishment has tried to assassinate President Trump twice. But we can't really be shocked that those who slaughter 1 million unborn babies each year would try to kill one more human being who stands in the way of their diabolical agenda. Trump, like every one of us, including all of us at Souls and Liberty, is a sinner. But like all of us, he is in the fight and fighting for all of us to get one more chance, maybe a last chance, to save the republic. We must hang together, or as Benjamin Franklin said, we shall hang separately. And maybe far sooner than many imagine, because communists take over and always persecute Christians and Catholics in particular. Let us help you fight these forces of evil. Become a monthly supporter today so we can continue giving you the information, the tools of our faith, and the support network you need to go out and save souls and save our nation. Join our merry band of happy warriors and click below to get into the fight. We need you, we need each other. Join the resistance. Become a monthly donor today. All right, welcome back. Stephen, the culture is influencing politics, which is, of course, is sort of the goal, but politics is also influencing the culture. I mean, you're talking about the great wakening up. You know, our question is there going to be enough of a wake up? Because if there isn't, I really believe what Elon Musk said. If this doesn't go in the good guys' favor, the white hats' favor, gonna be a problem at high noon out on the old dusty street.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I really think that we are at a point of departure. This is history that we're living right now, and I think that again, the democratic policies, the poisonous fruits really have come to the fore. They're undeniable, and so as a result, the economy is rotten. We hear obviously the New York Times will counter that, but everyday Americans are suffering like never before.
Well, hold on a second, just on the economy thing to stay current with it. You and I were talking before the show. The anticipated jobs numbers in the jobs report, the last jobs report that comes out before the election came out earlier today, they were expecting an additional or 113,000 new jobs added to the economy. They got 12,000. I mean, that's like a 90+% underperformance. And of course, what did the media do? They rushed immediately to defend that abysmal record and said, oh, well, it was because of the hurricanes. What?
Yeah, right.
There were going to be 100,000 new hires in Appalachia this past month.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. Appalachia is not Silicon Valley. There's not a lot of new employment coming out of there. Yeah, and we see that in the numbers. I mean, think about we've covered this in the past week and more on Souls and Media. Think about the fact that 1/3 of African Americans are going to vote Republican next week. That is incredible. I mean, that is a sea change, and they're doing it. A number of factors, obviously, but a main reason is because they understand their pocketbooks. Their economy, their personal finances are hurting. They're realizing that the Democrats just pay lip service to them. They're not going to be finding the path to prosperity through leftist policy.
There's another dimension here, specifically, well, I don't know if it's necessarily blacks, but, black men, but lumped in with all men. There seems to be this, hey, we've been bullied too long, pushed around, made fun of. I mean, we were sitting back in Detroit. We used to say, like, every single commercial that came on, any white male that came on the commercial was a dunce. He was an idiot. His wife was leading him around and teaching him how to, what insurance was, all that kind of stuff. And, it's really been I wouldn't even want to say like a man-neutral culture for the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's been kind of like a we hate men culture. And I wonder if this might not be not a particular race, but just men saying, screw you, we're done with being made fun of, dumped on, on and on and on. Because the gender gap, it's a real thing right now.
It absolutely is. Yes. I mean, and you see that as you say, in the culture. For example, for the first time ever in American history, more men are religious than women. That is a remarkable change.
Sure is.
Women are continuing to leave the church. More and more men are coming in because yes, they're assaulted. They're beset on all sides, and they're searching for something to reinforce their identity, their purpose in this world. And yeah, it's you see it online basically. Especially the younger generations, millennials and Gen X especially. They're just lost, and they're searching for their purpose. They're trying to rediscover why it is they're here, what it is they can do to contribute to the life of their country, to their own lives, to their families, and it's just a remarkable moment that we're in right now.
Yeah, and you think about the whole man question and what happens steps into the arena. Almost 10 years ago, Trump comes down the golden escalator, and he's talking like a man. Maybe not in the most polite terms lots of times, but I'm speaking more to the point of just sort of the directness. He's like, this, you suck, you're fake news, shut the hell up. I mean, all that sort of thing, which men have really not been allowed. Without receiving the opprobrium of society. Oh, you can't talk like that. Oh, that's mean. I mean, really mean tweets became a thing in 2016 to 2020, and Trump has sort of given permission by his presence, like stepping into the arena. He's given permission to so many men to say, yeah, you know what? He's right. That is the way we talk. That is the way we should talk about stuff. I don't mean necessarily like the crude stuff, but the directness and the calling things out as they are. And, that's what this movement of MAGA has been built on. It's not been built on the price of gasoline, because that wasn't an issue in 2016. Certainly wasn't by 2020. So I don't know, speak to that for a little bit. I mean, the movement is, it's religious in the fact that you've got all of these people who subscribe to some version of Jesus and Christianity or something in their head, even if it is a little vague from many times. There's patriotism, there's the flag, there's the flexing, there's all of that in this. And there was none of this. I mean, really, in 2008, John McCain, Mitt Romney, I mean, you talk about weak beta males, and I know McCain was in prisoner of war and all that. I'm talking about once he got into the system, he got busted down to just another beta male. Trump comes along and kicks over the trash can.
Yes,
garbage can.
And that's
garbage can.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, and that's exactly what was needed. Yes, Trump is not what I would call eloquent. He lacks political polish, but that's exactly what America has been thirsting for. American men,
especially.
That's
the appeal.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. As you say, he comes out and he says it like it is. He calls a spade a spade. He doesn't have any sort of, political mask to wear. He says what's on his mind, and that is so refreshing after, as you say, we Republicans, all we've been left with are the John McCains, the Mitt Romneys. It's so refreshing, and it's energizing, frankly. And actually it gives courage to other people to say what is really on their minds, on their hearts, and so forth. So yeah, it's been inspiring. This entire journey really that he's launched us on here, and we've got to make sure next week that it continues.
Yeah, that's it. If you haven't voted, you're out of your mind. Get out and vote, and if you're still wondering or you all get to it or something, well then, as I would have heard in my English upbringing as a little boy in England, then bloody well get to it. All right, take a little break, step aside here, and we come back. We're going to talk about the Democrats' hatred for Christ, Catholic Church, Christianity. Never, and I think everybody knows, Stephen, this is the 11th U.S. presidential election cycle I have covered. I have never seen religion in general and Catholicism specifically at center stage like it is here. We're going to talk about, break that down a little bit. Right back.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size MyPillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
No matter who wins in November, we have to embrace that we are living in a post-Christendom culture. And the heart of that is a rejection of the gospel. As one item on our agenda to combat this, Souls and Liberty is hosting our first annual retreat at sea. You might be familiar with the annual event we produced for over 10 years at Church Militant. Dr. Jules Gomez, our Rome correspondent, and I are going to be doing the presenting, and the theme is Christians in Exile Triumphing in Adversity, which provides a whole range of discussions to think about. Now, we sail out of Galveston, Texas to the Western Caribbean November 10th to the 17th, yes, right after the election. I think all of us are probably going to need it one way or the other. Please join us for serious discussion, spiritual preparation, and bonding, very important, bonding with fellow Catholics. Registration information is provided below and on our site at soulsandliberty.com/retreat-at-sea 2024. So sign up and we hope to see you there. All right, Steve, welcome back. Kamala hates Jesus. I mean, there's a headline. A Democrat just came out on stage and dissed, 25% of the voting population. What?
Yep. You're at the wrong rally. Well, yeah, she's got that right. It's been incredible. The anti-Christian and specifically anti-Catholic manifestations that we've seen over the past many months. It's just dizzying. But I think again, it's just. The masks are off, and you just see the communists pitted against the Christians, really, and that's playing out, in the headlines, in events, day by day, and that's what November 5th is really all about: deciding which way, America, which way are we going to go? I just can't stress enough what a historical moment this is. I mean, decades from now, our children and grandchildren are going to look back to November 5th, 2024 as the point of departure. And it's either going to be very good, it'll be the moment they'll recognize that the ship began to right itself, or the moment that the ship finally capsized, basically. Pope John Paul Karol Wojtyła was elected Pope John Paul on October 16th, 1978. And that was a sea change. He helped right a tottering church. And that the powers that be in Warsaw and Moscow that night they were saying, oh, crap. Well, hopefully that's what's going to be going on in Washington next week. Yeah. But, if things do not go our way, it could be like September 11th, 2001, a point at which America was never the same. We are on the cusp of remarkable change, one way or the other. Yeah. Next week, Tuesday and next week will prove pivotal to the life of this nation.
Yeah, that's it. Life or death of the nation.
Yes.
Seriously. We have reached, the H hour now. You talk about military lingo, and it is, it's this or it's that. Kind of Deuteronomy. I've set before you life and death. Choose life that you may live. We really are at that point. You hear that kind of talk, all these past campaigns and elections, it's the most important election ever. Well, at the time, is the most important election ever. But this election has a defining quality to it that it is the election. This goes sideways for the good guys, and it's over. And when you have the richest man in human history pushing that narrative, because it's true, he may not have the highest IQ in human history, but he didn't get to be the wealthiest man in human history, Elon Musk, because he's an idiot. He looks at something, in going sort of down the Democratic Party role there of Tulsi and, RFK and stuff. There's Elon, who's I would say until the assassination attempt and earlier when he bought Twitter, probably somewhat politically neutral, seem more just sort of libertarian, like agnostic libertarian. Boy, that's changed. On the one hand, you welcome that here finally is the moment. Here is the moment. Choose. Yes or no, up or down, right or wrong, all of that. That's it. Because then after that, then choices have to be made on what happens as a result. You win.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not retribution. It's not revenge. It's nothing like that. These people must be held to account. Period. They must be excised out of the federal bureaucracy as it is being shrunk and never be able to return to it again. They do all this stuff. We haven't even touched on the cheating. They stole the 2020 election. They stole it. And there's never any consequences. I think everything behind this, what many people are feeling, I think comes down to sort of a sense of justice even. That, why are these people getting away with something? Even this morning, headline in the New York Post, an illegal immigrant raped a 5-year-old little girl in New York. And Kamala's fine with that. She is fine with it. And that's not an exaggeration to say, she's fine with it. She is, because it's her policies, which she still defends and promotes, which have had this stuff happen. You don't get to ignore the consequences of your own political decisions. Sorry, you're the guest. I'm rambling on here because I'm doing that thing. But
no.
Talk if you can for a little bit about the role that social media and citizen journalism has impacted on this. Because remember, this couldn't happen in 2020. YouTube and Google and Wikipedia and everything shutting everything down. Now, it's an entirely different landscape.
It is. And yeah, if we'd had different leaders at the heads of our major social media platforms in 2020, we would not have had a Biden administration. They actively suppressed information, Hunter's laptop, all of that stuff. They directly affected the election. Mark Zuckerberg has all but admitted that he yielded to pressure from the FBI, from the White House, or from Biden to suppress that kind of stuff. And the impact of social media has only grown over the past 4 years, especially as you've outlined, when Elon Musk purchased Twitter, which was just totally leftist, prior to his purchase of it. Now, really, it is such a beacon of hope. It's how we are able to get our message out. Obviously, the establishment media, no one takes them seriously anymore, except those who are zombified by their narrative that they peddle day in and day out. And it really is, X especially is the foundation for this push for freedom. You've got to get your message out. Communication is essential. And, when you're not hearing it from the news bureaus in Washington and New York, where are you hearing it from? Well, you're hearing it from, Joe Sixpack on the ground at a rally in Arizona or whatever, right. And so it's just been fascinating to see all of this coming together. I'm extremely grateful for the effect that Elon Musk has had on all of this. And he's basically empowered everyday Americans to make their voices heard. And as a result, the deep state, Kamala, Biden, all of that political machine, they are under serious threat right now. And we may win the day because of it.
Yeah, and they know it. I mean, let's not forget, as we're talking about this little thing, that little current headline, the DOJ is going after Elon Musk. Now, they're going after him on pretty shaky grounds. They said, you may be violating a law, and they sent him a letter. Well, am I violating a law or not? You're the bloody Attorney General of the United States. You can't tell me if I'm breaking a federal law or not. If I am, charge me. If I'm not, screw off. But they sent that letter Monday, I think it was, to him. And I do have to say that Elon's response, I mean, just bring the lumber, baby. He didn't use the word screw off. And I'll
Yes.
leave it at that.
Right.
He posted it publicly. And then the DA, Philadelphia DA, comes after him. Oh, you may be engaging in like violating a state raffle lottery law or something. That guy got the same response as Merrick Garland got from Elon. There is a bravado that is emerging or is being given a voice that was there and tamped down and whatever by sort of like feminism on steroids for the past 20, 30 years. And it seems like a large number of guys, to circle back to our other topic, and I'll get your thoughts on this, making your closing thoughts, but it seems like those days are numbered. And even you go on social media and the number of women who, came out associated with Trump, Kellyanne Conway, just to name one, Sarah Huckabee, who told Mark Cuban, screw off. How dare you say we're stupid women, that Trump doesn't have any smart women around him, and then Mark Cuban issued a second apology this morning, and it's like, oh, I didn't really mean the women around him. Oh, and I didn't mean any of his supporters who are women. I'm like, okay, well, what women would be left? Melania? So is this what you're talking? So all of Trump's female supporters aren't stupid, like you said, and dumb, and the women around him, the Kellyans and all of those, aren't dumb. So what women are you talking about? Well, there's only one left. Cuban's a simp, and when Trump came out the other day and said, look, he's a loser. He called me 1,000 times a day, once I won in the White House. And I finally had to tell him, Mark, back down. I'm president. I got a lot of stuff to do. I can't keep taking your random calls. It was one of the most hysterical things. That's how guys communicate. Closing thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think, first of all, Musk's response, it's very Trumpian. He's just, he doesn't dress it up in niceties. He just expresses what's in his gut, and that's awesome. And frankly, he's originally from South Africa, but that embodies this "don't tread on me" American spirit. I love it. I love it to see it, coming to the fore once again. Yeah. Regarding women, I think, I've long thought, I loved Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister of Great Britain in the 1980s. She was sort of their Trump in a sense. She rolled back the socialist state that was suffocating the country. And I thought, where is our Thatcher, basically? And, she remains to be seen. But I tell you what, I love the fact that Tulsi Gabbard is now a Republican. Now, I know she's incorrect. She's wrong on, a number of moral issues, abortion, for example. However, the fact that she has come over, displayed remarkable courage. She's embraced the Republican Party, embraced Trump. I think there's a lot of sort of natural goodwill, basically there, that God can work through and work upon. So we got to pray for her. I think she could be really a boon for America in the future here. Other closing thoughts. I just think, again, we are. This is a moment in American history unlike any other. I would urge our viewers to just take some time this weekend, spend some time with your families, because next week is going to be exhausting. Be in prayer, keep working. If you're able to go, go door to door, promoting, Trump, etc. Whatever you're able to do, do it. But spend time in prayer, spend time with your families, because this is history.
Well put. Well put. That was a nice little round robin, the whole last crazy 6 months-ish or so of the year. So anyway, Stephen, thanks as usual for being on. Cool stuff. Really is. It's, you just listening to a conversation like this, like you're sitting in a bar and you're listening to two dudes sitting having a beer. You're like, wow, those guys know a heck of a lot about a heck of a lot. Yeah, that's true. So, all right, we'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. All right, just a closing thought of my own here. What's this election really about? Well, it really is good versus evil, and good for Christians, Catholics, who seem to have this notion in their head that the people that we elect to public office somehow have to be holier than the bishops, or the Pope. That's ridiculous. We should be cheering that somebody like a Trump or a Tulsi Gabbard or an RFK, who are wrong on many moral issues. They are. Abortion, same-sex marriage, blah, 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 blah. They're wrong on those issues. That they still have some touchstone to natural law, and they still have goodwill, and they're still exercising natural virtue, that they've been able to be in this mess, this filthy cultural swamp, this garbage pile, and still have somehow been able to emerge and say, you know, there's something very wrong here. Now, do they have the stench of the culture on them? Well, of course they do. They came out of the culture. What do you imagine is going to happen? So, I'm sorry, I can smell the culture on them, so I'm not going to vote for them. I'm not going to support them. Well, then you're going to rue the day when your family has to pay the price for communism winning. You know, were the people of Israel holy when God put before them choose life, choose death? No. At that moment, they chose correctly. But it's not like they were these puritanical, everything was perfect. They were there in their white robes, shining in glory. They're standing in the middle of a desert, you know, essentially escaping a life of 400 years of slavery. And they brought a lot of that stuff with them. You just don't like make a flip and become this, you know, saint. Now, do you want people to become saints? Yeah, but you got to start somewhere. And the culture is so rock bottom for the effects of communism here. Slowly at first, getting into the institutions, especially the media, and then preparing us for this point. Right now, we're just, whatever it is, 96 hours from now, communism may take over America. That's where we are. And if you don't think that you don't have a responsibility to get out and bust your butt to try to prevent that from happening, as well as vote, regardless of whatever weird puritanical, oh, it's so beneath me, God's got this. God's got it through you. He could have just hung around for 2,000 years and just remained in person. He gave that duty and his authority to the apostles to go convert the world. So this idea that we're somehow distant and don't have to be involved in any of this, that is, I don't know where you got that theological poison in your head. Or maybe it's some massive degree of pride that you have. It's not true. It's not true. The entire nation, and because the nation that we're talking about is the United States, we're talking about the world, hangs in the balance of what happens 96 hours from now. You do not want to be somebody looking back on that and saying, gosh, I could have done something more. Get out and vote. Life and death is what's on that ballot. I'm Gary Michael Voris. God love you.